Spencer Tracy. Tracy's ascension in the film industry coincided with a relocation to a ranch in Encino, California, and attempt to distance himself from his extramarital affairs and the shadows of Sunset Boulevard brothels. Renowned movie director Joseph Mankiewicz encapsulated Tracy's departure from his wife. Louise stated, "He didn't leave Louise, he left the scene of his guilt." Tracy's amorous escapades were an open secret in Hollywood, with a roster of famous actresses, including Myrna Loy, Paulette Gutter, Hedy Lamarr, Loretta Young, Bette Davis, Gene Tierney, Joan Bennett, Olivia de Havilland, Joan Fontaine, and Joan Crawford. Bracing his lists of conquest, Mankiewicz unabashedly remarked that nobody at MGM gets more sex than Spencer Tracy. In 1940, Tracy's infatuation with Ingrid Bergman led to a threat to quit a role if Lana Turner was cast instead. Despite Bergman's marital status and maternal responsibilities, Tracy seduced her, and MGM carefully crafted an image of Tracy as Bergman's mentor. However, Tracy's passionate liaison with Bergman was fleeting, making way for the enduring love affair of his life with Katharine Hepburn. Tracy and Hepburn's romance unfolded during the filming of Woman of the Year in 1941, enduring for 26 years. Despite the film world's awareness of their affair, the public remained oblivious to Tracy's double life as the happily married man, devoutly Catholic actor. Tracy and Hepburn meticulously maintained separate lives, even conducting their trips in discreet locations, like Barmore Castle in Northumberland. However, Tracy's insatiable appetites transcended even a passionate affair with Hepburn. Irene Dunne, Tracy's co-star in A Guy Named Joe, described him as rude and brusque, and revealed his harassment, prompting her to complain to MGM co-founder Louis B. Mayer. Mayer's intervention served as a warning to Tracy, deceased his advances. Number 4. Errol Flynn. In October 1942, America was still reeling from the attack 10 months before on Pearl Harbor. Across the Pacific, Americans and Australians were locked in titanic battles against the Japanese on air, land, and sea, especially in the Solomon Islands. On October 17, as Japan launched a vicious attack on American forces on the island of Guadalcanal, news of an Australian-born man, much beloved by Americans, hit the papers. It was the first report of a stunning and dark LA story that would consume public attention. Actor Errol Flynn was accused of raping a 17-year-old girl at a party in Bel Air. Flynn's woes multiplied 4 days later when 2 more charges were brought against him for twice raping a 15-year-old girl aboard his yacht a year earlier. So began a salacious, high-stakes Hollywood saga, opening a window onto a very different world of men than those fighting the war. In this privileged realm, sacrifice and suffering were nowhere to be found. And this test of the statutory rape laws involved arguably the biggest film star of the day. 7 years early, Flynn transformed from an Australian nobody, a Warner Brothers stock player, like a million others, to a Hollywood idol thanks to his casting in the title role of the 1935 film Captain Blood. Flynn quickly became an iconic action hero. His was a mix of physical beauty, devilish charm, gallantry, and a raw colonial masculinity. Enacted in fighting scene, he was so often armed with swords, he earned the sub-brigade of swashbuckler. In 1942, legal proceedings began against Flynn over the 3 charges of statutory rape in relation to the Bel Air party and his yacht. At the same time, filmgoers were watching him play an Australian Air Force pilot, Terry Forbes, alongside future US President Ronald Reagan, in a stirring but improbable anti-Nazi drama, Desperate Journey. As America's war escalated, Flynn, along with hundreds and thousands of others, attempted to enlist in the US Army. At the time of his trial, Flynn had just been granted American citizenship. Due to tuberculosis, he was confined to performing war heroism on screen. Number 3. Marlon Brando. In the harsh light of revelations about mistreatment and abuse, Marlon Brando, the iconic 20th century actor, emerges as a troubled figure, leaving a legacy of pain and suffering in his wake. Rita Moreno, sharing insights into her nearly decade-long relationship with Brando, disclosed a tumultuous, toxic dynamic that drove her to contemplate suicide. In an interview for Variety's Actors on Actors series with Jessica Chastain, Moreno revealed the distressing episodes of her relationship with Brando. She expressed the excitement of being with the Hollywood legend, but detailed the ways in which he mistreated her, pushing her to the brink of despair. Moreno's candid admission included a shocking revelation of a suicide attempt with pills at Brando's house. He and I had had a relationship for almost 8 years. Ultimately, it was exciting to be with Marlon. Oh my God, it was exciting. He was extraordinary in many ways, but he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy when it came to women, Moreno, painting a troubling picture of Brando's behavior. This revelation echoes other instances of Brando's questionable conduct, notably documented in his mistreatment of Maria Schneider during the filming of Last Tango in Paris. Schneider, the co-star, expressed feeling violated and humiliated during scenes, raising questions about Brando's treatment of women on and off screen. Moreno reflected on her past self, acknowledging her vulnerability and inability to stand up against Brando's mistreatment. She described herself as a different person, lacking the strength to resist the destructive dynamics of the relationship. While some may argue about speaking ill of the dead, Marina's decision to share her experiences prompts a necessary conversation about accountability, even in retrospect. Brando's complex life, marked by personal tragedy and trauma, doesn't absolve him of the responsibility for mistreating women. Moreno's courage in bringing these issues to light challenges the notion of posthumous immunity for celebrated figures and emphasizes the importance of confronting uncomfortable truths. Number 2. W.C. Field. A renowned gambler and karcher, a gin drinker and hater of children, iconic actor, comedian W.C., a pool hustler, a juggler, and an ordinary man struggling against life. W.C. Some widely held beliefs were true. Some were part of the act. But above all, the cantankerous man with a bulbous nose and a drawling voice was one of the funniest, richest, and most influential comics of the 20th century. While Charlie Chaplin drew our sympathy, Buster Keaton earned our astonishment, and the Marx Brothers made us blush, Field spoke directly to what made us human: our dark desires, the unspoken urge for meanness, the gravity which we all held quiet, all the while making us laugh when he got away with it. A man like Fields reminded audiences of themselves, but they hated to admit it. W.C. Fields, the American comedian and actor, was indeed known for having a short temper. While he was beloved for his comedic talents and unique persona, off-screen he could be irritable and had reputation for being difficult to work with. When Fields felt others weren't taking his work seriously, or when he encountered obstacles during production, he would become frustrated. Despite its sometimes challenging demeanor, Fields' comedic genius and unique style and left a lasting legacy in the world of comedy and entertainment. His contributions to film and comedy continue to be celebrated, even if his off-screen personality was known for its sharp edges. Number 1. Humphrey Bogart. One of the biggest stars of Hollywood's golden age, Humphrey Bogart is known for playing gruff and brooding characters in movies like The Maltese Falcon and The African Queen, for which he won an Academy Award, among many others. Perhaps Bogart's most iconic role came in 1942, when he played Rick Blaine, opposite Ingrid Bergman in Casablanca. In this classic love story, Bogart fully explored his darker side, and the movie would go on to earn 8 Academy Award nominations, winning 3 via IMDb. How much of Bogart's portrayal of Blaine was acting, and how much of it was true to life for the star? Based on reports on his on-set behavior, he was a lot more like Blaine than you might expect. Bogart aside, Casablanca was a troubled movie from the start. According to Alicia, the script was based on a play that had never been produced and it needed a complete reworking. A series of writers were brought onto the production, and it's even said that Bergman didn't know how the movie would end, or which leading man her character would end up with at the resolution, because the script remained unfinished even as they were filming. All this combined, as well as a long list of personal issues, may have influenced Bogart all throughout the film's production. Much like Blaine Humphrey, Bogart was trouble in a very bad place in his personal life. During the production of Casablanca, Bergman tried to bond with the actor, inviting him for meals, but he generally declined, choosing instead to play chess by himself per Alicia. Bogart even ignored Bergman during the production, whenever the cameras weren't rolling. The fact that he was shorter than Bergman and had to sit on extra cushions during certain scenes likely didn't help. What really influenced Bogart's on-set behavior during the production of Casablanca, though, were marital troubles with his third wife, Mayo Methdet, who he would end up leaving for a later co-star, 19-year-old Lauren Bacall. He was 43. He also had a worsening drinking problem. For Showbiz Kai, he fought with the movie's director, Michael Curtis. Nevertheless, Bogart managed real, on-screen chemistry with this leading lady. Bergman and the movie Casablanca would go on to be considered among the very best Hollywood films ever, despite all those production problems. Here are Hollywood's 20 most evil actors who brought drama both on and off the screen. If you found this list as fascinating as we did, don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more amazing Hollywood stories.